It all started with build mode, and now we're ending with build mode. I remember the days when all we had were clips of building in Paralives. Didn't matter how intuitive the tools were, the biggest question was, where is the gameplay? Still is, really. I wonder why people have so much grace and patience for The Sims 4 than they do with an indie game that has made its intentions very clear. There is an answer to this question, but it doesn't make me feel good to think about. Regardless, even if the worst case scenario is true, I'm down for a glorified build simulator. That's all The Sims 4 is to me at this point. I've actually been wanting a game to be just that. I've tried games where the only focus is to build and decorate a home. Never would last long, as those games made me feel as if I was in school for architecture. I've grown accustomed to the way it's handled in The Sims and how it's being evolved in Paralives. After 5 years of discovering how this game plans to take what we know and level up in almost every way, it really deserves a full deep dive. That video would take a lot to do, at least for me, so maybe I'll think about that as we get closer to early access. For the sake of time and to make an effort in staying more consistent on this channel, I'll continue with this miniseries. Being the first mode they choose to work on, I bet the amount of content is pretty substantial by this point. There is no way I can remember every single feature we're getting. To catch up, I've been scouring all official Paralives content, YouTube, Paralives.com, and Patreon, both public and private posts. I rediscovered the old and relearned features I already knew. It's crazy how much I thought I knew, but after looking into it, I realized how detailed Paralives will be. I found the top 10 hidden gems of build mode. Really, they've been there this whole time, but this just gives me an excuse to talk about them. Number 10. Customize English text on objects. I would easily add this feature to the top of the list, but that would be me being spiteful. I have zero issue with English text in my games. Having a preference for in-game text seems kind of silly to me, but that's just because I don't understand it, so I'll respect those who do. Since I've experienced both English text and having an in-game language, and not only from playing The Sims, I see this choice as refreshing. If anything, this will make my immersion deeper. I'm very visual when I play, and I love when the backdrop to my cinematic playthroughs border the line of realism while staying within the confines of the game's art concept. So when the scene is set in plain English, literally, it's an added little bonus to see the vision. There are probably better reasons of why having English text in Paralives won't be as bad as you think, but for me, as long as it stays within the confines of the art style, I'm down. The LifeSim community is so creative, I can't imagine the innovative ways they can utilize English text. Also, a huge plus that this is something modders can get their hands on to add plenty of objects with customizable text. Bring on the change, it's something different in LifeSims, and I'm so ready for it. Number 9. Stair animations. One of the major features that sets Paralives apart from all current or upcoming life sims is the height slider. It wouldn't be surprising if this was an ambitious feature they wanted to add early on in development, but scrapped for obvious reasons. But no, they stuck with it for all these years and putting in the work to make it feel seamless. If it wasn't for this now public Patreon post, I would have never understood how they managed to have paras with varying heights use the same animation on one staircase. Turns out it's not just one animation, it's multiple depending on the height of the parafold. It makes sense that if your character was short or tall, they would cover more or less of a certain amount of distance. One animation for all paras will make the footfalls on each step look so awkward. However, if you have the same general animation tweaked in speed and distance based on height, you get something as seamless as this. And yes, I can see how this could be incredibly satisfying. This is pretty solid for a base version, and I wonder how this could evolve as time goes on. Number 8. Easier second floor placement. I can't count how many times I've created the perfect first floor layout to then have no direction on what to do with the second floor. This always starts as a sad game of trial and error until I come up with something that works but fails to be just as perfect. Unfortunately, there is not a tool to fix this problem, but there are a couple of features that make planning out your second floor a lot simpler. Curved walls are a cool concept, but a pain to place if you aren't used to them. It's a great thing Paralives has the ability to duplicate a curved wall on the second floor. Such a small feature, but will be one of the best time savers while making sure the second floor is just as satisfying as the first. Since we can duplicate single walls, why not just duplicate the entire floor? When this feature isn't present, I notice and very quickly. I personally am obsessed with building realistic apartment complexes, so I love that Paralives plans to add fuel to this obsession with just one click. More quality of life features like these, please. The more gameplay, the better, but building will always be my safe place, and if they continue to make building this satisfying, I won't be surprised if I primarily use this game as a build simulator. Number 7. Terrain tools. I have to admit something, I barely use terrain tools. Besides the paint tool to save money tree or create a natural path. Everything else I never touch. Out of the nearly 3 decades of playing and building in The Sims, to this day I suck at landscaping. Will this be the same in Paralives? Probably, but I don't see that fault of mine changing. Can't really be great at everything. But is it crazy that their showcase makes me a little hopeful I could improve? The terrain tool system seems pretty standard in quality for Paralives. I have a good feeling Paralives won't have everything we want at the start, but anything they do, they will do well. I'm often surprised by how solid a lot of features are in this game. Most times with an added extra layer of something we considered impossible for The Sims. The 3D grass is what blew me away. Also, I shamelessly come back to this video just to listen to the sounds. This game has so much ASMR, I can already bet the audio will put me to sleep, but in the best way. Do I really care for the terrain tools? Not at all, actually. But do I think what they created rivals what we already know? I mean, the tool speaks for itself. I'm not ashamed to say this is one of those features that is better than it is in all 4 Sims games. Number 6, disability-related clutter. I truly do appreciate how the dev team have been so open about having disabilities represented in-game. Now, actually making this work and well is the hard part, but thankfully it's not the only option. I feel it's a good compromise to at least start with decorative objects that show rather than tell you about your para. I've been heavily addicted to playing one specific household in The Sims 3 for a couple of months now. I've taken my time with these characters to really build up their personalities. I was able to learn you aren't going to have super in-depth Sims straight out of cast. One of the biggest things that has allowed me to stay consistent with this household is to build up their lives with personalized decorative objects. This experience taught me sometimes game functionality isn't the main reason I keep coming back. What's more important is that players have the option to represent themselves, and I'm glad they will. I've never really been a person that plays with my sim self. If I ever did, it was always quickly abandoned after a couple of days. What I'm most excited for is the opportunity to create deeper characterization. I enjoy playing with Sims and eventually paras that feel like real people, and decorative clutter is a good start for early access. Number 5, picture frame customization. The way wall art works is such a game changer. In The Sims 3 and 4, I struggled to find the perfect picture with the correct frame that completes the room. Even with the large and diverse selection, using the same pieces can start to feel repetitive after a couple of years. The picture and frame customization is a genius solution to this problem, bringing your options from 100 variants to infinite possibilities. Based on Paralives' track record, I would have expected frame size manipulation and a color wheel. What I did not expect is to change the actual picture inside the frame, meaning you could mix and match every in-game picture with any frame. And if this isn't enough, they've made it so simple to take pictures you have saved on your PC to use in-game. I would have been satisfied with just a color wheel, but this completely removes most restrictions that come with in-game wall art. This is what we mean when we say it's the little things. Number 4, variants of different objects. Changing the cabinet or handle style of counters solves an age-old problem that not even the color wheel can save me from. Similar issue with wall art, I could never find the right kitchen counter that had the perfect drawers or handles that made sense in the room, so I settled for the best option. This feature is great, but what really gets me excited is the potential if this is brought to other objects like dressers, bed frames, and mirrors. I know all builders understand the pain of finding the right mirror size, but the frame is just not right, or vice versa. I'm pretty sure they've already confirmed the variants of bed frames. If not, I can't see how this is something that wouldn't be possible for Paralives. My builder's heart is screaming in joy. I've always been such a sucker for custom content, but with systems like these, Paralives will make the decision to limit what I download a whole lot easier. Number 3, resize, stack, and flip objects. Paralives has taken push and pull to a new level. Every game that has object manipulation to this degree never falls short. You can easily see the range of possibilities with this tool when watching how you can manipulate a lamp, turning a simple desk lamp into a floor lamp, the shelf on the desk, stacked and stretched to create a custom object. When I first saw the desk drawers being flipped, I instantly knew this game is being made by someone who has spent time as a builder and was able to ask themselves, what would the player wish they could do? It's common for there to be a disconnect between the mind of the player and developer. The option to resize, stack, and flip build items is one of many features that shows the Paralives team will not have this problem. Number 2, snapping and alignment of objects. Free placement is one of the biggest selling points. A grid can be very limiting, but I think I can speak for a lot of us in saying we come to rely on said limitation and often use it to keep some form of symmetry. Too much freedom can easily cause chaos, so the option to decide whether you want to snap or line items to then seamlessly switch to free placement was such a smart choice. No cheats or having to go out of your way to find how to turn on the grid. It's all there, built in like every other build tool. I would have expected Paralives to lean into gridless build mode, as that sounds amazing on paper, but that can get old very quickly. Again, they prove they really do understand the mind of the player. It's almost as if they they've played similar games before. Number 1. Color Wheel Refresher. If you are even slightly aware of Paralives, you've been made aware of the color wheel. They're synonymous at this point since they're the two most wanted things in the life sim community. A color wheel and a new life sim that has it. So by no means is this feature a hidden gem in terms of recognition. I will say knowing we were getting one was enough for me to write it off, but in a good way. Basically, seeing it once, checked off that box on the list of features I wanted and never paid attention to it again. Doing this caused me not to understand how in-depth this simple feature was. Discovering the trend of Paralives taking the simple tools and adding an extra layer of impossible is my new favorite trend with this game. So to break down every detail of the recolor system, we have a full color wheel with a full range of colors. Opacity slider for picking an exact shade. Those details get even better when you can change different parts of one object. And the part that I never knew until now, you can change the texture of an object to give it an entirely new aesthetic. It's like they took the best parts of The Sims 3's creative style and simplified it. Creative style is great, and if you have a powerful PC with the correct game fixes, it runs smoothly, but we really didn't need every single pattern that was in the game. The dev team understands simple but effective is more than enough to add longevity to replay value. There is a reason why such a recognizable feature is in the top spot. Every single feature on this list is good on their own, carries each one of them to be great. The recolor system is the foundation of all the genius customization options in Paralives. Remember when I said I could do a deep dive into everything we know about build mode? Making this video has given me a lot of ideas on how to put a little spin on an everything we know video. At this point, I'm pretty set on that idea and maybe coupling it with a live mode and Paramaker version. Now my only question is, should I do it now or wait until we're closer to early access? I can't decide, so why not ask you guys what you think is the best timing? I just can't get over what this game has to offer. Again, there's not much, but what's there is amazing. I really do hope this continues to be a reoccurring trend for Paralives, an easy way to set itself apart from its competitors. A compromise to add what they can, but make it great. Well, it's easy for us to want. Let's just hope it's not too taxing on the dev team. I guess these videos are an appreciation of what they've done so far. Paralives team, I see y'all. Whatever y'all are doing, keep doing that because I really do think this all could work.